Hi and welcome to the penetration testing gauntlet. Today we're gonna hack from Hack the Box, Grandpa, Mirai, ICA1, well it's from Vulnab, and Cap. And then you'll find all of this on my YouTube channel distributed throughout the entire month of December and January 2026. Fantastic gauntlet, wow, grape! Yeah, let's start with Grandpa, which is the second recommended machine if you're just starting out. I would recommend to hack Blue, that I've already covered on my YouTube channel, and then continue with this one. Then after this one, Mirai, and after that, ICA1, and after that, Cap. And so you'll have amassed a little bit of experience with penetration testing. Now, to really get going, you should hack about 40 Hack the Box machines, the easy ones. Then study the OWASP testing guide and the penetration testing execution standard. And if you want to perform professional penetration tests, you can always check my courses in the description, which have a more structured approach. Click on machines, look for Grandpa. There you go, spawn machine. Connect to the HTTP VPN network. I've already shown you how to do that. You just click on connect, then download the machine's OVPN file. You'll find it in your downloads folder. Then I usually do this. Left Control plus Alt F1. Log in. Go to downloads, sudo open VPN, your OVPN file. Then left Control Alt F7 and you get back here. And we're in the network. Control Alt T, if config, and you see that we've successfully connected to the network. You can always find it here on the top right. So we click on the IP address, and now one thing that I want you to do is to start using Markdown to take notes, because as you perform more and more tests, you're going to forget about what you did, especially if you get back to it after a week, for example, and you're working on 10 machines at the same time. It'll happen. So we'll create a new folder, make dear Grandpa, and then we create the Markdown file. We paste it in. Now Markdown is very cool because if you use a Markdown editor, it's already available on Visual Studio Code, but I want to install something that's easier, that's lighter. Yes. So now you look for retext and you'll find it here. See, just by using that little hash there, we defined a header, a heading. It's very neat and clean. It'll come in handy in the future, as we'll see by the end of the video. We'll take a look at this at the end, but let's continue. Now, since we are in Linux, this way we can at the same time create documentation, add interim documentation, that is documentation in real time, and also use these commands to work on the machine. Now with IP equals, we can copy this from Vim and paste it in. It's double quote plus double Y. I know. this comes in handy because you can just do this and you just can call the variable rather than type in the entire IP. Right. Sudo nmap timing template of 5. We've already seen this in the blue machine. Then the IP and save the result to OpenTCP. This is going to scan the top 1000 ports on the Grandpa machine. Everything that comes after the hash is a comment, so it will not be executed by the bash environment. -p dash means we'll scan all of the 65,535 ports. And then O, capital N, it'll save the result file. We're launching nmap so that we see what ports are open as it's scanning. Now we could also define another variable called ports so that when we find what are the ports, like for example 22 and 80 that are likely open, could be a lot of them. Then we could type another command, which is more targeted with SV for the version. Now, this is a very efficient way to scan with nmap because we've not taken a look at all of the service versions of the ports. Now we just want to know which ports are open so that once we do that, we just scan the open ports, saving time, right? SV, version number of the services, SC, default, nmap scripts, -O, the operating system, -P, the ports that we'll define here. We still have to see which ports are open first. So, looks like we only have port 80 open. Okay, it's port 80, so let's just do 80. Now, if we had multiple ports, you would have done this. Now, if it doesn't copy the contents to the clipboard in Vim by using :+YY, it means that you need to install the Vim GTK3 package. It's now scanning for the service versions on port 80, 22, 3000, and 8000. Hi, Lara. Hi, Non-Morrow. And there you go. As you see, 3000, 8000 result filtered. That is not accessible. Same goes for 22, but for 80 is open. And it says Microsoft IIS HTTP daemon, that is server 6.0. There's also web dev, which is particularly interesting. There are many vulnerabilities related to web dev. So we search for an exploit that's related to web dev and IIS using the searchsploit command, which I repeat is a mirror of the exploit-db.com website. In fact, if we visit the website and we search for web dev and IIS, we'll have practically an identical result. I don't know, storage path from URL, storage path from URL, as you see. You just need to update it. To examine this, You type in Searchsploit -x for examine, and then the ID that you see here, if you can see it, and the ID that you see here on the top right. So Searchsploit -x to examine, and let's say 41992. And we can take a look at its contents. Specifically, even before taking a look at the payload and what it does, you can take a look at the description so that you can do some kind of a, vulnerability analysis and see if it corresponds to something that's likely to work. And it says here that it is a buffer overflow in the SC storage path from URL function in the web dev service. Yeah, we have that. In the Internet Information Services IIS 6.0. I mean, couldn't be clearer than this. We have web dev and 6.0 in Microsoft Windows Server 2003 R2, which is exactly the server that we have, our emperor, Dobby. Dobby is our senator. We have many senators and counselors. That allows remote attackers to execute arbitrary code via a long header beginning with, we don't care about that yet. So we also see that this is a Metasploit module, which is why I'm showing you this as the second machine that we're gonna hack. Because, when Metasploit modules work, they make everything easier. Q to exit. Let's launch Metasploit. So these are the commands that we just typed in, so that we're not gonna forget next time that we take a look back at our notes, right? So we get into the MSF console, we search an exploit that's called storage path, if you remember from earlier. All right, SC storage path. Search, type, exploit, storage path. Then we show the options. We set the remote hosts with the IP. Now we're in the context of Metasploit, so I think it forgot about our IP variable from earlier. Set L localhost. Well, let's just say remote R host. This is gonna change from time to time. The same goes for our local host. So this is just a placeholder. We have to get into the context first, of course. Use 0. Then show options. You can just type in options. It's really the same. Set localhost to be our host here. Ctrl+Shift+V. And then for the remote host, it's this one, the machine IP. Ctrl+Shift+V. Now we just have to type run and hope for the best, I guess. Now I remember this exploit was kind of unstable. If this happens to you, that the connection doesn't last more than 10 or 20 seconds. See, doesn't work very much. Okay, we can at least get into a shell. Operation failed, access denied. If this happens to you, we're not able to get the user ID on the box. If we drop into a shell, we can type in who am I, and we know that we are the empty authority, but network service. This is not administrator. But there are some commands that don't work very well with Meterpreter because it's kind of shaky. So what you can do in these instances, you can get a list of all the processes on the machine. And then, since Meterpreter lives in memory, you can migrate to the process ID of another service that's got the same privilege level. You cannot do privilege escalation from network service to empty authority system because the privilege levels are different. In order to do that, you will have to find another vulnerability to perform privilege escalation first. So let's migrate to, I don't know, dev c data, I guess, 3516. Three, 4, 2, 4. God damn it. It's very unstable. To see if we have still Meterpreter sessions active. Tap in sessions. There are no active sessions. Let's see in options. Windows Meterpreter, reverse TCP. A good idea could be you can try to use a payload which matches the architecture of the remote machine. Now we have a 32-bit machine here. Sometimes I remember wasting a day because I was using the wrong architecture for the machine. This happens specifically on machines that are very old, like this one is. Now remember, it's Windows Server 2003. It's a long time ago. But nonetheless, we can try again. We could try rebooting the machine. That might work too. Let's try. Search. Type payload Meterpreter x86. If we type in show payloads rather than search, it'll return a list of all the payloads that are compatible with the given exploit in the given context. 64. We gotta reboot the machine. No other way around it. When it happens that a payload kind of works, an exploit kind of works, and then it doesn't work anymore, you probably DOSed the machine. You performed the denial of service against the machine, and now it's unstable. The vulnerable service is now down, and you're not able to exploit it anymore. Such was the case with machines that ran with services that ran on Windows XP or Windows Server 2003. If you're old enough to remember, these machines used to crash very often with blue screens of death. They used to all the time. So set remote hosts. See, now it's also changed. No dice. It's very unstable. Stop the machine. Nice. This is the way to hack it. It's gonna work. If you look on the official write-up, like all the official write-ups, it says that it's trivial to exploit, but when they're this unstable, they're really not. You gotta do system administration, black box, system administration until you find a way to hack the damn thing. So it says version 6.0, storage path from URL, you run it, and you're in. Then you use the local exploit suggester, and you get from empty authority to empty system. It says that dev C data seems to be the only stable process available. We tried migrating to that, but it didn't work. This machine is incredibly unstable, which is a great time. So this is to introduce to you that there are both false positives and false negatives. In this case, it's a false negative because the exploit works, the vulnerability is there. It's just that the machine is so unstable that it's a pain in the ass to hack. This is very important because sometimes you will hack a machine, right? We try hacking a machine with the correct exploit using the correct way to hack it, but it doesn't work the first, the second, or the third time that you launch it. But so you move forward, you keep trying all of these other crazy things, getting into all kinds of crazy rabbit holes when the first try was the correct one all along. And it's particularly frustrating. I think I stopped it. Yeah, I did. So let's do it again. So if you're hacking Linux machines, go with Vulnhub. You'll waste less time. But as far as Windows machines go, you really cannot beat Hack the Box. You know, another thing that you can do, you can start the machine and wait 5 minutes and then try again, which is what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna take a cigarette break. We'll wait for 5 minutes for the machine to fully load all of the services, and then we'll launch it again with run. So these are the only things that you gotta do. Set the remote host, the local host, and that's it. You have to run it, then migrate to a service because it's another process because it's incredibly unstable. Then use the local exploit suggester, and then one of the suggested exploits will be the one that is going to grant us system privileges on the machine, and then we'll be done. So cigarette break, 5 minutes, cigarette break, I'll get back here, and then we'll pray that it works this time around. Oh, and by the way, this could have happened also with the blue machine. So you would have had to restart it, wait 5 or 10 minutes, depending on the current server load that the Hack the Box network has, and then try again. So let's try again. There you go. Stupid asshole. Now let's move fast. PS, migrate to the PID. Let's be very fast with this. I wanna be done with this as soon as possible. I have other 3 machines to hack tonight. Migrate. What was it? Dev C data 3216. Stupid asshole. Well, whatever. Migrate. Let's try the other one. 3144. Background. Can we at least drop into a shell? Jesus Christ. This didn't happen the last time I did this. Let's try it anyways. It's not gonna work. This exploit looks for other exploits, post-exploitation exploits that will grant us higher privileges on the machine, because at the time we have the privileges of the server user. Session is 1. Set session 1, and then we type in run and we see what other exploits might work against the machine. But it's gonna crash. We're gonna have lots of bugs. Tonight is not the night to hack this damn thing. This isn't working. It's very unstable tonight. It happens from time to time, depending on the machines. When this happens, just close it. And try again the next day. It's not working. We get back into the context of the previous session with sessions -I and the number and the identifier of the session, but oh, back. Now we can set with G, we can set a specific variable like lhost to be the same throughout our Metasploit session. Same goes with our hosts. And now it's not gonna work because we have to reboot it again. Welcome to penetration testing on legacy systems. So it opened the session again. Did it. We could also migrate to 3264, but I think, yeah. You wanna play rough? You wanna play rough, you piece of shit? So we create another reverse shell payload that goes to our IP address, and we call it get fucked, right? On port 3037. Remember, the obstacle is the way, right? And now it's here on our grandpa directory. No, where are we here? So we are in the same directory. We're reading from bash. So we run it again. We get a new MSF console started. Then we use the multi-handler, which allows us to use external payloads. Then on options, we set the payload. We set the local port to be 1337, just like we defined, and then set the payload to be the same that we defined earlier with MSF Venom, right? Which is Windows Interpreter Reverse TCP. Copy the selection, set payload, this one. Then options, local host is 10, 15, 41. Don't do mistakes here. and then we run it. That is, we listen. Okay, it's listening. Okay, we got our Meterpreter shell here. We upload the file getfucked.exe. It says access is denied. So we go in a folder where we can write, so right? Which is it? I guess cd documents and settings, cd in double quotes. There, I don't know if we can access Harry. Nope, we can't. So we need to find a folder where we can write to. Directory, I guess Windows. Where was it? TMP on legacy systems. Nope. You can find the folder by using Windows environment variables, which are %, So yeah, it was in TMP, it was in temp, not TMP. We check if we can write here with, I don't know, echo hello test type test. Looks like we can. So I don't know if invoke web requests existed here. Nope, too old. Let's exit, get back to Meterpreter and upload get fucked. exe to see. Windows temp get fucked. I don't remember if the syntax was, oh, you need double slashes. Yeah, I remember this. Looks like we uploaded our reverse shell there. Now we get into a shell. We go to Windows temp. There you go. Get fucked.exe. We'll launch it. And it doesn't work. Huh. The get fucked service is actually online. But it didn't register. Wait, what? It fucking worked. It fucking worked. It worked. It took some time, but it worked. Hallelujah. So, it worked. See? Now it fucking works. Legacy systems and fucks. So yeah, now we have a stable shell. Finally. Now, we background the session, which is session 2. Remember, it's session 2. And we search for the exploit suggester. We used 0. We set the session to be 2. Alright, and we run it. Test your fucking systems. So, we got 7 different likely exploits. I mean, these are likely to work. Now, you can take all of them, you copy them, text editor, you paste them here, right? I think I burned a potential collaboration with Hack the Box. You can use before any of this, which are likely to work. Now, you set the session to 2, and then run, and run. You copy all of this, and then you Control Shift V the damn thing. Now, some people will say, well, there isn't much finesse. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? If it works, it works. Then you're gonna take a look at the code and see how it works. But in order to get the damn flag and waste as little time as possible, because the damn thing is unstable, we don't care. You will have to read all of this attentively. But no, we don't care. And by the way, I already know that the correct one is this. So you type in use, options, the local set G session 2, set G local host is 10, 10, 15, 41. You run it and you become system. From hell, well, because people are... I'm doing this for the layman. Get UID. Okay, now it's opened. It's very slow. It's very unstable. It's very confusing. Looks like it didn't work. Oh, we are system. What a fucking mess. Sessions. I4. Who am I? Get UID, I mean. Oh. Thank fucking God. We're empty authority system and we finally pawned Grandpa. A very unnerving and unnecessarily frustrating machine on Hack the Box. But yeah, this is a great introduction to penetration testing. Welcome to a world of pain. But hey, it's 6-figure salaries. I think we can deal with that. That doesn't mean that we don't get mad at systems and curse at them. Now, you can get into a shell. Into a shell. No, you can't, apparently. You can look for files. Like if you want to find the user flag, you can do it this way. If you cannot drop into a shell, you can use the other interpreter commands to do so. Search -f root. So you'll find both the user and the root flag, and you can type it out on standard output on the screen. Copy the selection, double quote, Ctrl Shift P. There's your first flag. There's your second one. And so we hacked Grandpa. Thank God. Now, what did we learn here? That legacy systems are very, very easy to exploit because the more time has passed from their inception, the more time people and hackers have had to find vulnerabilities. But legacy systems are also very, very unstable and are very frustrating to work with. So they're probably the most fun to hack, but also the most frustrating to hack at the same time. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Watch the live streams on Twitch. You'll see the schedule there. You'll find both the link to Twitch and to my courses in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time where we'll hack instead Mirai, which is another Hack the Box machine. Thanks for watching. Bye. Now, oh, and before we end this, See how neat it is? Start learning the Markdown syntax if you haven't already. This will prove very useful. You can also include lists, images, tables, without having to type in all of the HTML that you would usually have to type in for these kinds of documents. So, but we'll see this again and again in the future.